Oh, I'm back again. I'm going to be nice and brief as I wasn't the first time, but hopefully I get a chance to touch on all the aspects of the ApplyTexas Common Application System. McGregor, thank you for lunch. Appreciate that very much. First, I want to go over some background on the application system. In 1997, the 75th legislature passed Senate Bill 150, which called for the establishment of a common course application, undergraduate application system for four-year universities. Along with that, it also called for the establishment of a committee to advise the Higher Education Coordinating Board with the development and revision when necessary for the Common Course application system. In 2005, in the 80th legislature, that was also amended with Senate Bill 502 to allow for community colleges to also be part of the Common Course application system. First, I want to talk about some of the committee makeup and the committee initiatives. At first, inside the Senate bill, it said that the committee was there to assist the Higher Education Coordinating Board with the development and revisions. You know, they're not just there just to revise the application, which is revised every 2 years. That's not their only responsibility. They also have something called the Counselor Suite Initiative, and these are the initiatives that they have for this coming up year. In this one, the high school counselors can go into the application system and they can look at a high school student and see where they applied, where the progress they have on the application, when they applied, and what they're coming up with this coming up year is when they were accepted and where. That was one of the initiatives they have for this coming up year. The other one is the Fafsa Initiative. And for the Fafsa Initiative, this will allow the high school counselor to go into the ApplyTexas system and then notice where the student is as far as their Fafsa application and their status. Now, this was important because, as you know, some of the students, even though and I had this as my own personal experience with my son going to school, some of the students, when they put in their IRS information, then the IRS would send back to you another form saying, we don't want that. We want to have a transcript. And sometimes that would cause a student to stop the process because they didn't feel like applying for the transcript, waiting the 10 days, and then putting the form back in so that they can continue the admissions process. This will allow the high school counselor to look to see where the student is, and it will also see if they've been asked to verify their IRS information. That way they can follow back up with the student and have them complete the process. And I wanted to also tell you, if a student is filling out a FAFSA application and allows the FAFSA application to use the IRS information to populate the FAFSA, what I understand is they won't be asked to be verified. So that'll stop that whole process right there. The T-REX interface. Right now, the T-REX is a system that allows, by mandate, public high schools to transfer transcripts back and forth between themselves. However, right now, it does not mandate it for institutions of higher education to have them transfer back between the different institutions, or even between the institutions of higher education and the public schools. One of their initiatives this year is to look at that process and to make sure that maybe we might need to make recommendations that we use that between institutions of higher education as well as between the institutions of higher education and public schools. Next one is another initiative they have is called the Application Alignment. What this is going to do, there are several different types of applications that are contained in the Common Application System. I want to say one is first-time freshmen, one is transfer. They have, I would say there's 8 of them, international transfer, international first time. What this initiative is that we're going to have the application ask a few selective questions at the beginning. So therefore, instead of the student having to choose what type of application they're using, the questions will guide the application to the correct alignment for that student. So if they ask a certain amount of questions and application itself figures that this is a first-time freshman, it'll automatically put that student in the first-time freshman application. And the last one, that initiative they had for this year, is to create a data warehouse here at the coordinating board. Right now, the data is being held at UT, and what they want to do now is they want to take that information from UT and bring it back to the coordinating board so that we can create reports for external agencies. This is the membership structure of the ApplyTexas committee. We have 11 community colleges, 11 four-year universities, 1 independent, and 1 student representative. There are right now, for the summer coming up, there will be 3, at the end of summer 2013, there will be 3 positions open for community colleges for nominations for the ApplyTexas committee. That's really about it for me with the ApplyTexas. Once again, my colleague, Jose Rios, if you have questions, this is his contact information. So if you have any questions at the question time, I'll be happy to answer as best I can.